So I'm super excited today. A very good evening to everyone, and we all welcome you to another wonderful session of UinDhi. It's my absolute pleasure and honor to be here and welcome four extremely talented, deeply compassionate, and beautiful individuals of the Ekadaksha Learning Center, Srimati Bindu Haridas, Srimati Bharathi Balarajan, Archana Joshi, and MS Kanaka. Welcome to UinDhi.
Thank you, Priya. Thank you.
Ekadaksha Learning Education is a society where children with special needs are accepted and respected for who they are. Their mission stands to provide children with special needs the means to explore, express, and experience, and eventually turn into individuals, independent and responsible individuals. So this is a very special session because it naturally works with little children who are very less understood and explored. I guess before we get into through the session, let me introduce briefly all four of you. Bindu Haridas, again, welcome. She's a special educator and a mother of a special child. She's a commerce graduate and she has completed a diploma in special education. She has been working with her own child as well as other children and is passionate about her work. She is also a Reiki master. We have Bharathi Balarajan, who is a special educator and mother of a special child. A graduate of commerce, she has completed a diploma in special education. An experienced specialist educator, she is dedicated to working with children with special needs. We also have Archana Joshi. She too is a creative, dedicated special educator, registered with RCI, and absolutely enjoys working with special children. A commerce graduate, she has completed a diploma and B.Ed in special education, besides MSc in applied psychology and art-based therapy. She is also an AWAD certified AAC professional. We have MS Kanaka, who's a tourism graduate and a mother. She has worked with children with special needs and learned while she worked. She might be a tourism graduate, but her heart lies in working with special children. What beautiful, compassionate introduction that was. I really enjoyed introducing all of you. Before we get into the session, here is a massive shout out to Rajeshwari and Taposhri, who connected with y'all and made this session possible for us today. So, before we begin, the very, very first question that I would ask all of you, I think I will go individually to each one of you. So how this journey into the special education start? Why and what led you all to start your foundation? So let's maybe start with Bindu first today.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Priya, for the wonderful introduction. Thank you so much. Really a pleasure to be here today and talk about Ekadaksha, in fact. And to start with, whatever you had introduced, it's written in there also why we had actually started. So I had my reasons of being in this field, being a mother. I wanted to know more about special education so that I can help out my child. So we four of us, we met for the course. Where we were doing the course. Three of us met during the course, and Kanaka we met when we were working. When we started working, we met her there. And all our thought process met, and we had a same wavelength. And that's how we started Ekadaksha. So doing the course and getting to know about it, and then working in a school for 3 years together. And then coming out of it, just where we wanted to learn more. And in that process, we thought, why not start together? And that's how Ekadaksha was born. And we started in 2010, March 4th. And now this is our 12th year in the run. And that's for the journey. I just cut short the journey because I just don't want to go into too much details of it. So each one of us have our reasons, and all of us are passionate. We really wanted to do something, not different, I'll not say different, something to contribute, where we could contribute our ideas, and all our ideas matched together, and that's how we came together also in that process.
That's really amazing to hear. May I please ask Archana to say a few words on your reason to join this? I mean, of course, Bindu has given a brief short for all of you, but it'll be nice to hear some words from you.
Sure. So as Bindu said, thank you for having us here. And she's already told how Ekadaksha was formed. And the three of them have their reasons for joining. Mostly all of them are mothers. But for me, it was mainly pure, at first, actually exploring what to do after my college days and after my graduation. And after that, as I joined the course of special education, it became a total interest and passion to be with these children. And it's just a great, wonderful, fun thing to be in this field. Every day is a different day. You never know what to expect. So it's always working on your mind. What to do next. So all your creativity, a lot of thinking involved. And it's just amazing to actually make a small difference in the life of any child and their families, basically. So that's why I'm in this field right now.
Beautiful. Kanaka, can we hear your part, please?
Hi. Due to interest only, I joined this field. So I like this field.
Continue to tell about Kanaka. Kanaka, actually, she came out working in a school as a volunteer, because she wanted to be part of this, to do something, and she joined in that school, and that's where we met. And for her also, her passion, she just wanted to work, be with children like this, and that's what led to her in this aspect. Priya, just think that Kanaka will be talking to you in Tamil also. We can translate it so that she can also voice out her.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I understand is, I mean, it's not very hard to understand that the field that you all have chosen out of your compassion and your wish to serve is the toughest of them all, I think. And it wouldn't have come without challenges. So my next very important, I think, question is, I think for the rest of us also who are very new to this. I mean, we've just only probably heard of it through various sources, but really don't know what are the main challenges that you all faced. I mean, let's begin with how, I mean, when you decided to start Ekadaksha, what were your main challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome them, and what are your current challenges? If you could take us through it.
Yeah, who can say? Archana, you can continue, please.
Okay, so challenges, I would say, like, okay, so when four of us decided to start Ekadaksha, of course, we actually took at least a year off, and we discussed a lot of things. We planned a lot of things. We had to figure out what exactly we wanted, what we needed, and all that. So we had the support of all our families. So it was a challenge. I won't say it was a major challenge, but it was challenging for us to discuss and figure out what we want to do. And we actually had planned it only on a very smaller scale. So we never expected ourselves to grow and be here for so many years, because we only started a very small place with very less children, and later on we grew and grew and grew, and challenges just come and go. So I can't say there are like very very big challenges, or small challenges keep coming, keep going, and we just since we are all together, I mean, we all make the decisions together. We always discuss. We are a team, So challenges don't seem like very difficult to face. Actually, it's just it's something new, let's go for it. Let's decide how we can go further step by step. And of course we have to see what's happening around the world. We have to see the new trends related to this field. So we have to educate ourselves every step of the way. We need to educate ourselves. Getting very good staff and teachers is also something which is a little bit challenging, because you need people who are really passionate and really into the field, and there is not like everybody who can be that. So luckily right now the team we have, the teachers and the volunteers and the helpers, all of them have this passion. So that's what we want. So that is one challenge, to get like amazing teachers and an amazing team which become like an Ekadaksha family. And yeah, to keep growing, to keep growing, to know better, and to give the best. So it's a challenge to keep on getting new inputs, new things, what to do next, etc. Of course, working with children is a challenge at times, because all of them, a lot of them have communication issues, behavior issues, learning issues. So it's always a challenging thing for us to know and to think about what we should do with each and every child. So each and every child is different in our class, So if we have 5 children under us, with each child we have to decide what to do. So it's different for each and every child. And of course, working with the parents, thinking about their difficulties and how to make things easier for them. So these are all like simple day-to-day regular challenges which we have, and but it's very easy for us to face it, since all 4 of us are a good team together. So we're glad for that.
Yes, when you have the right reason at heart, the universe makes sure that you get the best bunch of people to work with, which is amazing. It's very reassuring also.
Yes.
So, okay, great. As an individual, I don't work with special education, but it is a field which, again, I've heard many a times. I think most of us have heard of it, but we are really not aware of what are the different areas where special education comes in. So could you please brief us, for the listeners, as to what are the different special needs that are there in children, and that we can be aware of? What are the different kinds of special needs that are there in children that most people don't know about?
Categories you are asking. Means category of special.
So basically, there are different categories. Like there is intellectually challenged, there is children with autism, children with learning difficulties. Then these are the kind of children we deal with. So children who have behavioral issues, children who have a lot of communication issues. Then there are other kind of difficulties as well, like visual impairment, hearing impairment, cerebral palsy. Then the people who cannot who have difficulty in their limbs, for all their upper limbs and lower limbs. So there are a wide number of special needs actually. But at Ekadaksha, we deal more with the intellectually challenged, slow learners, the children with learning difficulties, children with autism. So we deal with those kind of children at Ekadaksha. So there are a lot of different special needs, and it is sometimes what happens is certain things go together. It just happens, like some children who have visual impairment, they may even have intellectual difficulties. So sometimes these are called multiple disabilities. So they may have more than one disability as well. So that way there is a very big list of different kinds of special needs of children, and each kind of special need has a different way to be taught actually. So children with learning difficulties has to be taught in a different way. Children with visual impairment have to be taught in a different way. So there are different ways to teach each and every special need as well. So there are different courses for every special need. So you need to really specialize for a particular kind of a disability in order to go and teach that particular kind of a special need. So, yeah.
I have this question that there are certain special needs that are very visible kinds, like you said, people with autism, and I hear that there are different grades of autism. And then there are certain learning disabilities. There are certain disabilities with children, which are not very visualistic, something that is not very visually evident. Now, how do parents come around, or how can that be identified? If you could just, I mean, let me take you through an example. As to some children are just very naughty. They don't focus. They don't want to study. They have a very bratty behavior. I mean, and most of us think that they're very temperamental. So how does a parent identify as to whether the child is missing certain points, the normalized points, or how does a parent know whether the child should be taken to a special educator? If you could just tell us that.
Basically, most of the parents who come to us for an assessment for classes, basically out of that, most of them already have an awareness there is some issue, something not fine with the child. The child is very restless or very hyperactive or not able to focus in the academic part. So when they come to us itself, they already have a very basic awareness about there is something not fine. So for such parents, it becomes easier for us to make them understand even more better as to what are the needs now. Initial, what basic needs to be worked on, what needs to be done. So for such parents, it becomes easier. But yes, there are certain parents, uh, though they come to us knowing the fact that there is something not fine, but it is mostly like when they go to school, the school tells them that something is not fine. The child is very hyperactive, or not sitting, or not listening, or not attentive, focusing. So why don't you go and do an assessment? So for the sake of schools, they come to us and tell us like everything is fine, but still I don't know why the child is not able to sit or not listening, but otherwise my child is very fine. So for such parents, it takes little time for us to talk to them on a very consistent, regular basis and make them understand that there are certain issues, but if worked on, sure there will be some kind of improvement slowly and gradually. A very good improvement. The children start settling down, they start focusing, they start cooperating in the class, in the school. But it is very, very important for the parents to understand and get that point, because only when they understand with acceptance, when they bring their child to us, it becomes more easier for us to work, because we believe working in both ways. It's not only like we at Ekadaksha will work with the children and the child will show a very good improvement. We even want to involve the parents also to work in certain areas, so that both ways when work, the improvement is shown to move faster and much better. So mostly the parents who come to us, they are aware about the issues. There are few parents who either are not aware or they don't accept it. But as time goes, it becomes easier for us to make them understand. So this is what we have been seeing as of now in our whoever the parents are coming. But the schools are the one most of the time who help and guide the children. Sorry, guide the parents as to please why don't you go and check out, and why don't you try to find out what is the issue, and when worked in those areas there would be very good improvement. So one way the schools also help the parents. Sometimes pediatrician doctors, when their children, parents take the children for a regular checkup also, they also sometimes help and guide the parents to go for an assessment and work on these areas. So this is what we have been seeing in all these.
Most of the times, when a parent learns that their child is special, what they end up feeling, or even the family altogether, the society altogether, what they feel is exactly opposite. They feel extremely devastated. The term special doesn't resonate through their feeling of acceptance. What would you, as teachers of special education and special children with special needs, have to say on that?
I'll take the question actually. So, with regard to parents, most of them, when they come to us for the assessment for the first time when the child is very young, especially most parents who come, child is 3 or 4 or 5 when they come to us. The first question is this only, they wouldn't have accepted and they just want to find when will this get okay? When this will be okay? Like, when will the child become normal? The word normalcy comes there, normal thing that comes there. So when will he or she become normal? And is it 6 months or 8 months or 2 years? They just want to know the time period. They feel remedial or therapy or anything has to do with normalcy. It will bring them to normal as a thing. So, but we slowly, when we talk to them, when we do the consultation and assessment and all those things, we try to put it up in a very small way first, that you have to learn to accept this first, and this is going to be a lifelong process, which takes time for them to really take in, and accept from us. Actually, in fact, from us, that also it takes time for them, but gradually after 3-4 sittings and all, we have seen them slowly accepting and understanding. And when we say that each child is unique, and each child have their own capability, talent and everything, and it is for us to tap that and see that where we can take them, that gives them hope. And I feel with hope, we all want to live in hope. When there is no hope is when we really get shattered. So when we give them a feeling, no, this child is also unique, this child also can live, this child can do something, so let us find out that together, that makes them much more calmer. And then the thing of hope only gives them, I think so, that feeling that yes, we are also ready to do our work. So we start if the child is very young, we start with them from that time. So as a child grows, we also actually try to counsel them, make them understand. And when the child reaches around maybe 10, 12 and all, they would have reached a stage of acceptance totally. From then it becomes much more easier to take the parents ahead. So that's our experience, what we have seen. And as a parent myself, I can tell you that part, because with the child, we also grow. And I've also grown with my child. And and then we understand, yes, we have to, he or she or whatever it is a unique human being. We only have to respect that, accept that, and then work towards, whatever they are capable of. And you reach a point like that. So since we have that experience, we take the parents along on that way, so it becomes a little bit easier for us. So this is what our experience has been telling.
Very touching, I think. So coming to Ekadaksha and its curriculum, I think what's interesting to discuss will be how is your curriculum different from a normal institutional curriculum? What exactly how have you basically framed your curriculum to accommodate your children with special needs? If you could just throw a light on that.
So basically, like you said, our curriculum is of course different from the ones in the normal school, in the regular schools. We have at Ekadaksha, we have made our own curriculum based on what all our children actually need, and as as you have already read about Ekadaksha and you said at the beginning, our main goal is to make them independent and responsible adults, in the future. So learning is also part of our curriculum, but always our main goals are making them independent in all aspects. Their activities of daily living. That means like bathing, brushing, eating, etc. Then their communication, because many of them have difficulty communicating. So many of them are non-verbal or they are partially verbal. They just talk a few words. Some of them talk a lot, but still they are not able to communicate their exact need or exactly what they want to say. And then of course we have our regular maths. So we do a lot of functional academics basically for most of our children. And so all these things go hand in hand basically. We do a lot of creative stuff, art, etc. So we incorporate all these things into our curriculum based on the classes which we have divided our children into. So we have an early intervention group, middle functional academic group, and then we have the pre-vocational group. So the early intervention group is from the age group of 4 to 7. The middle group, the functional academic, it's like a moving up levels basically. So the 7 to 12 years old is the functional academic, and the 12 to 18 years old is the pre-vocational. So for each level, we have a different curriculum, and our goal is like how in regular schools they move up on standards. So from first to second to third. So something similar on those lines. We want to expose them to different things, So otherwise, what tends to happen is every time we are teaching them the same thing till they are 18 years old. But we want them to move forward, get exposed to different things, different teachings, different learnings and stuff, so that, like Bharati said, we can find out what they are good at, and we can help the parents to finally at the end of the day, when they become 18 or whatever, figure out what to do with their life. So all our curriculums include communication, teaching them to be independent in different ways, a lot of functional academics, math. So like in the early intervention, we do it at a very smaller level. We start with all the basic academics, the basic simple things, like we teach them a lot of fine motor skills and gross motor. They all have difficulty with their finger skills and all. They can't do simple beading and stuff like that. None of them are independent. So we start at the lowest age, the youngest age. We give the small inputs like that, and as they go higher, like for example, if you say fine motor, we would probably start with very bigger beads and stuff like that. Slowly, as they move towards the next classes, they will be beading with smaller beads, and then finally they'll be beading with threads. So this is just an example, like, so we try to move forward. Like in math, we would do just probably fun activities when they are in the younger stage. Later on, we will move on to introducing numbers to them, and then later on counting and etc. etc. It goes on. Same with communication. We start with the basic needs, telling them, okay, you have to at least tell what do you want. Like, are you hungry? Are you thirsty? Do you want to go to the toilet? That kind of thing. As they grow older, a lot more emotions come in the picture, and that kind of thing. Because at the younger age, their basic needs is only important. But as they grow older, emotions become a great, it's very difficult to deal with the emotions and understand their emotions. So we start communication at a younger age itself and move forward. So basically, our curriculum is to make the children move forward in their life. So this is about the early intervention, and the functional academic has all these things. But the pre-vocational is a little bit different. So I think Bharti can touch upon the pre-vocational curriculum.
In pre-vocation, by the time the kids reach the pre-vocation class, they are 12, 13, 14 years old. So as Archana said, in the early intervention and in the functional academic itself, we would have already worked on their sitting tolerance, on their fine motor skills a little bit, and a little bit of functional academic learning, the basic concepts, the general awareness about themselves and the surroundings, those lot of such things. So when the children come to pre-vocation, our focus is little more on skill development, because once they are 18, 19 years old, we need to send them to a vocational setup. So to send them to a proper vocational setup, we need to know what skill they are either very good at, or they are very interested at. So, or which will be really very beneficial for certain children due to their sensory issues and all those things. So we start giving them a lot of awareness and lot of skill development activities and all. Like for example, we start giving them exposures to a little bit of computer, a little bit of office clerical activities, awareness of the things used in those areas, and a little bit of like the fine motor goes to the next level where they start making some product making, where the lot of art and craft activities happen with some end products. So which gives them a very good feel that some end product is come, though they may not be able to understand, okay, oh wow, this is a jewelry, or this is some beautiful decorative thing which can be used at home. But somehow when the end product is ready, with all the process that they go through, they feel very happy, a lot of feel good comes to them. So actually, like how Bindu said, we learn along with the children. The children also teach us a lot. So we also started learning from that, like we need some end products which will give them a very good happy feeling. So product making also becomes a part of the curriculum. Though product making is not literally make lots of products. The main process behind the making such products is there to make them understand that there is a certain time concept, there is a time limit for certain things to be done, there is a start and there is a do. process, and then there is a finished process. So, in order to make them understand this process, so a lot of art and craft activities are done, which slowly becomes, by the time they are 16, 17, 18, it becomes like a typical product making kind of an activity. So this is one area which we develop, because why I'm talking a lot about this is because most of our children are very much inclined towards those product making, lot of art and a lot of craft. So they get really interested and attracted towards that. So that helps us to find out which child or which young adult is showing very good interest. So that when at the age of 17, 18, we sit with the parents, we discuss with them, and we give them our inputs and feedbacks as to what kind of area will be really good for a vocational setup. There are certain children, when we train them, they get into a computer, a lot of interest in computer activities, a basic typing skills and all. So then the parents are suggested with those kind of, vocational training setups, where the children can go and learn something. Some are very good in socializing, those kind of things, hospitality and all. So we try to work in such a way so that we come to find out what are the areas that they are very good at, which can help them in the future to get into very specific, like a college, like get into that kind of a particular area, and then somehow try to settle down in their lives with some work skills, or maybe start their own business. So a lot of such functional academics only, but in a higher level. The concept of money and the concept of time, all that becomes a very important priority in this age group children, because at least though they may not know the typical money concept and all, but some understanding towards it. We also work a lot on their socializing skills as to how to going out and how to go out and socialize. So a lot of outings are done. Most of the young adults, we do our celebrations, birthdays, everything like a typical young adults where all friends go out together. So we make that kind of an atmosphere where we take them out, so that more of that outside exposure also they get, so that when they are come to an age of adulthood and all, it becomes a little easier for them to get into the vocation. So pre-vocation, this is what we do in pre. Slowly, by the time they are 19, 20, we send them to a vocational center. In fact, recently we had a graduation, simple graduation ceremony where our first two young adults got into vocational setup. One is Bindu's son, Abhishek, and one of his classmates also. So it was a lovely, wonderful, happy moment. It was a very emotional and very nice moment to see these children who came to us when they were so small, and now they are blossomed into such lovely young adults with some talents, and they've gone forward to vocational setup, and we are expecting them to settle down more in a very good way in the future. So that is one of the latest achievements that we have got.
So, like you were asking about challenges, one of the challenges is actually after 18 what, for most of our children, figuring
The
out
next
that is
question would have been that, but
okay.
I'm glad you perceived it beforehand. I think
Exactly. We are lucky that these two boys have actually found a good place. So that is one of our challenges. And regarding the curriculum again, we also, like how Bharti said, we do a lot of art and craft and creative stuff. We also have a lot of exposure for our children in dance and music and drama. So every week, once a week, the whole school gets together and we have a dance. We plan up. We have a proper plan, like what will we do? So this week we will do dance. So sometimes it's free dance, sometimes it's they have to follow what are the steps, or they have to follow each other. One time it's a story, so we do drama, we enact the story. One time it's with music instruments. Then sometimes it's we have some music, they got to listen to music, or some child is good at music, they can try to perform. So we try to encourage children with all these things. We expose them to all these things, so that will help us for the future. Apart from learning different skills in the pre-vocation, the clerical skills and knowing the process of how to make things or whatever it is. We expose them to all these things, so that way we come to know about different children's talents. Some children are so good at music, or they may be good at dance, they may be good at drama. So reading, writing and all is not everything. We expose them to even reading and writing, actually, depending on each and every child. Like if they're able to do it, we will encourage it accordingly, basically. But everything we try to expose them to, we do even in pre-vocational. Sometimes we expose them to some cooking, like some baking, simple cooking, like that kind of a thing. So some children love it. So if they are good at it, we will know how to go about it in the future. But still, it's a very big challenge, because the society, there are not so many places who are so forthcoming to employ these kind of people, because you really need the patience. You really need to know how to go about it with them. They don't learn the same way as how everybody else learns. They learn differently. So the entire society actually has to work together so that it can become an inclusive society. So this is really till now a very big challenge for us, but we are trying to find solutions. So let's see, hopefully things get better in the future.
Amen to that, and I'm pretty sure with you people working so hard through it, I'm sure the day is not far. Now, while I was talking to you all, what I realized honestly is that a special child, I mean, as far as intelligence is concerned, as far as capabilities are concerned, they lack nothing. It's not like there is a lacuna. It's, I think, is it on the society's part or the parents' part, where the lack of understanding how to place them, because theirs is a very asymmetric way of, how do I say? I mean, they are made in a different way. So, how does Ekadaksha basically prepare parents to come through and know how to be with their children, or understand the language in which they are talking? Because I think communication is what is majorly. I think Bindu and I were talking the other day, and she pointed this very important key word to me, that was communication. Because see, I have been perceived normal, but honestly speaking, I have had a hard time communicating the right kind of thing to the right crowd. How do I express myself? What do I say that it fits rightly and people are able to understand it exactly the way I'm saying? So if you all could just tell us something about it, just maybe in short, or just however you feel. I mean, yeah.
So, like, yeah, communication is one big, I mean, I don't know how to word it, but it is the thing that happens usually is with our children is most of the time, like I can say 99% of the time, it's assumptions. So whatever if the child cries, oh, he's hungry. If the child is laughing, oh, he's happy. And it's just very basic assumptions of whatever the child is doing, and you just assume, oh yeah, he wants this. So immediately that the food is put in front of him, or whatever it might be, like that. So communication is purely based on assumptions. So at Ekadaksha, we've always been into communication. So we've always told the parents and not to assume. The first thing is not to assume. But you may even know, you may be even right. No one is saying that you're wrong about it or something like that. I want assuming, but then not giving everything right in front of the child. Just immediately either fulfilling the need or making sure, yeah, this is what you're crying for, so this is what I'm going to give you. That's about it. So then, you're not giving an opportunity to the child to say, I want this or I don't want this. So again, communication is not only about I want or whatever, it is even about saying I don't want. So because that's how we all communicate, right? We communicate what we want, what we don't want, our emotions, what we like, what we don't like. So with our children, all this becomes very limited, without any opportunities given to them to express themselves. So many children some children just get comfortable with it. Some children show it out in different kinds of behaviors, which are not very appropriate. Plus, it stresses out the child as well as the parent and any other caregiver. So all these kind of things happen. So at Ekadaksha, we are working on communication in all kinds of ways. So we develop communication. We encourage the children to communicate. So if they're trying to tell us something, we try to get it from them as to what do you want. You tell us exactly what do you want. So we have communication boards with a lot of pictures on it. Either we allow them, they may pull us to some particular thing and show it to us. So that kind of way. Now we have started a new app, which is a Avaz app. It's been there for quite a while, but we've been starting using it at Ekadaksha like full fledged this year, and it has really shown a lot of improvement in the children. So we encourage the parents and tell them that allow the child to communicate in whatever way they want, as long as it's an appropriate way. And if it's not appropriate, if it's some lot of behaviors, then we will give you the strategies as to how you can get him to communicate in a better way. And actually it shows very good results, because when the child starts understanding that, oh yes, I'm saying this, I'm showing it through the app, or I'm showing through a picture, or I'm showing through some proper gesture clearly to my parent, then my mother and father are understanding what I'm saying. And that creates a very good bond between the parent and the child and the caregiver, because once the children think that we don't understand what they are saying, so they are frustrated. Actually, most of our children are so frustrated, especially, as I said, when they become older, emotions, it's so difficult for them to express their emotions. They just express it in various ways which are so difficult to handle. It is sometimes so difficult to see them in that condition also. But when you give them the right channel to communicate through the app or through pictures, or in that kind of way, and show them that you're there for them, you're ready to listen to them, then there is really a massive change in most of our children. We have literally seen it with our eyes. Like a simple example is a boy wanting to go to the no the boy wanting to be hungry. He's hungry actually, so he's just screaming and crying, but we don't know what it is exactly. Are you hungry, or are you in pain, or what is the issue? So we slowly taught him how to communicate and all that. And then when he would say that when he starts crying, okay, fine, we figured it is because he's hungry. So we started telling him, okay, you show that you are hungry. Don't scream and cry, because we can't understand what you're saying, and you're stressing yourself, you're stressing out everybody in the classroom and all. So you tell us when you're hungry properly. So when he started showing the hungry picture and all that stuff, then he realized, okay, they are able to understand that, okay, now I'm hungry, so that's the thing. And then either we would give him the food, or we would tell him, no, you need to wait for half an hour, then you will get your food, and he would immediately settle down. So that's how it finally works. When they communicate, we understand, and then everything is quite settled. So communication is really another really important part to be worked on from the time they are small, actually. We shouldn't wait till they are older, and so that time we will work on the emotions, that time we will work on their basic needs. No, it's better to work when they are younger, actually, from the time they are small.
Also, I would like to put here one point is like how she said, as they go older, the children, communication plays a very vital role, because they get into their own thought process, their own mindset. To be more, to put it in a simple way, they also are growing like so-called normal children emotionally. So we always encourage the parents that communicate with the children as per their age. Like you cannot try not to communicate with the young adults as if the girl or the boy is a very small child, and talking in that way, because sometimes certain young adults, though they are not able to express it properly, they don't like it, and because of that, like how Archana was telling, they get frustrated. But when you start communicating to them as per their age, respecting their age, and talking to them at that age level, like how we naturally do with so-called normal children. Talking to a smaller child, of course, is different when the same child grows to a young adult. So we encourage a lot, to the parents that kindly, try to be more aware to, how to communicate. When it comes to children, yes, you can communicate that way. But when it comes to young adults, you need to respect them for their age and talk to them like how you talk with young adults. And also that also has helped the parents and the caregivers and the teachers like us to understand these children more better. And what we have found is, when communicated appropriately based on their age level also, has helped them to express their emotions, their ups and downs in a little more better way. Because we, as she said, we have had young adults when you talk to them in a very childish way, they will not respond, they will not like it, they will get frustrated and irritated. But when we changed our way of communicating to them, just treating them like a typical young adult and talking to them with, that level, we saw lovely drastic changes. I have to tell, like Abhishek, Bindu's son, he has always, challenged us, like, why do you have to talk to us, like, talk to me like as if I'm a child. I'm a young adult. So talk to me like, treat me like a young adult. So that change that we got, while talking to him has made him also open up a lot with us, and also made us also understand him more better, and even express our thought process to him in a more better way. So that really works very nice. In fact, we have to say communication is a very big topic, and it can keep going on and on and on, because it plays such a vital role. Like how Archana said, assumptions, that is something we have to control ourselves from assuming what they like or they don't like, whereas they are very capable of expressing themselves. Even their likes and dislikes, their emotions, everything. We also, along with teaching them how to communicate, we also have to, along with them, learn how to communicate with them. So we encourage all our teachers, our volunteers, and parents a lot to keep doing. So that's why we bring in a lot of modes of communication. We give a lot of awareness workshops and programs and everything for the parents, for the teachers, everyone, so that we can keep at par with these kids. So that's one thing I wanted to add.
Is a need for, I think, all of us all together. I don't I think I also belong to that special category where I have really, like I said before, I mean, I think communication is a very, very crucial point where most of us need to be understood well, and that has to happen, come across. And I think I'm a teacher myself, so I can really, really tell you this, because I don't teach special children, I teach the ones who are taken as normal. And communicating and making them communicate their problems to me is the biggest issue in the class, I think. And I have, for every batch, I have to find and for every child, I have to find a means to talk to them and make them really come up with their troubles, because that's the point where I think I have had the most trouble teaching. I don't know, I mean, we all teach, we all skip. It's easier for us who work with symmetric group of children. I think for you, it's you don't have a way to miss or bunk areas. I think it's very hard for you all. Now, coming to that, I'll just add a quick question as I understand that the special needs areas are very diversified. So, I mean, I understand handling a class or the teacher-student ratio is at times is a big issue, because sometimes there are many children and many students in one class. So, how do you all deal with that bit? How do you all organize yourself around that thing?
So the student and teacher ratio in for each class, so where we have 3 groups in our school, which is the early intervention group, and which Archana had explained, the functional group and the pre-vocational group. So in a class, we don't keep more than 5 to 6 children with 1 teacher and 1 volunteer. So this is a basic ratio that goes. It can be 2 volunteers also sometimes, depending on the kind of children. So when we find there are more challenged children, we put in 1 more volunteer there. Only then the class functions smoothly. Otherwise, there will be a child who can disturb the whole class. And if a child is disturbed over the day, the teacher or the volunteer take up the child and take them away out of the class, and then make them more calm and all that, and then get back. So we need this ratio, at least 5:1 teacher with 2 volunteers or 1 volunteer. It depends. But each class has only 5 to 6, not more than that at all. So early intervention, if we have 10 children, then we have 2 classrooms. So the functional academics, if there are more than 8 or 9 children, we have 2 classrooms with a teacher and plus 2 volunteers or 1 volunteer. So that's how in Ekadaksha we are following, and that helps the teacher to take the curriculum also along. Otherwise, it gets disturbed. So every day is a new day for us. We cannot, whatever we plan, we don't know whether we can get it done also for the day. So we keep it very open. So every day is a new one. We'll see, okay, what is for today? Let us go with the flow. So that's what's been happening. So that's what. Anything else, Archana or Bharathi? Kanaka also can put up.
That's
Nana, would you
Actually,
like to say something about this, on this, or anything in general? Because I don't speak Tamil, so I have to ask you in English. Please,
Kanaka can
please.
tell. தமிழ்ல பேசு கனகா, நாங்க எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணி
We'll translate it.
ஒர்க் பண்றதை விட பசங்களோட ஒர்க் பண்றதுதான் இன்ட்ரெஸ்டா இருக்கும். பேசுறது எப்படி பேசணும்னு ஐ டோன்ட் நோ ஹவு டு டாக் திஸ் டாபிக். I know how to work with these children.
That's so sweet. She said she's very good at her work, and she said the talking only is a problem in English, but she can work. That's what.
She does talk in English,
Yeah,
but she's feeling little hesitant.
Kanaka, I have to admit it today that I'm a Tamilian. My father is a Tamilian, but I have been born and brought up in West Bengal, and I don't know a bit of Tamil. So I take the shame for not knowing Tamil.
Again, we have to put here one point is working with these children and being with these children. Language is just a mode of communication. It can be anything. It can be anything. Even if we are not talking any language, also we have modes of communication. So we have come to a level where we believe any way, it can communicate. And being with these children, they have taught us, like if we can communicate with these children, we can communicate with anyone. We come to that kind of level. So be it
That's
Tamil,
actually very,
Hindi,
very
Bengali,
brilliant
all are
way to
lovely
put it.
languages. As far as we are able to understand and express our emotions, any languages.
In fact, we use
Actually,
music. We
actually
use
very
music
important.
for communication as well.
Yeah.
So, like, just to make a circle, we sing a song. And you won't believe it, it's easier than telling the children, come, make a circle, come, make a circle. It's
Need
very,
good connection with
rather we
children.
just sing a song. Yeah, music, it just connects and they immediately come into the, circle. And there is one boy
All
who
are from different backgrounds. Like
Yeah.
Bindu is a Malayali. I am a Punjabi. Kanaka is a Tamil, and Archana is mixed up with Gujarati and Hindi and Dutch. So Ekadaksha has helped us to communicate in all our languages with each other and more other languages of non-verbal, so-called non-verbal, language, mode of languages and communication. So we have now started talking each other's languages. In fact, Archana's Tamil has improved. My Tamil has improved like anything. Kanaka's English has
learn Tamil
improved.
from the children.
Tamil has gone to a super level actually now. So it's a
Love
beautiful
love is important for the children.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the heart that speaks more than
Yes,
the
yes.
language.
Yes.
That's right.
Children understand that language,
Yes.
language of the heart.
A lot.
How toddlers, they know who kind of cuddles with them, likes
Easily
them.
they will
The
read our
smile, it
mind.
just sparkles in their eyes. How would they know? Yeah,
Okay.
such a beautiful point and such a beautiful, note to almost get into 1 hour of talking, and it just doesn't seem like we've been talking for an hour.
Yes.
I guess I won't be keeping you held on a Sunday evening. Just one quick question. So coming back to the challenges that you all face, I mean, how do you think someone like me or someone who would just listen to this session and come to know of Ekadaksha can contribute to you? What are the different ways in which the society in general can be a part of you and contribute to the work that you do? If you could just tell us that.
No, it's very important. You always keep writing about it. You're the best person.
So, well, the society can contribute in various ways. So, if you're talking about generally about special needs and special education, of course, more awareness in the society, obviously, to be created by people like us, but society themselves to make themselves aware about people with disabilities and people with special needs. That would be one. Accepting different people as they are, that would be another one. This is the general this thing. Of course, on other lines, when it comes more to Ekadaksha, that way, of course, people who are interested in volunteering and being with our children, spending time with our children, spending not only if you want to volunteer on a regular basis, that's also okay. But if somebody wants to come and, many of our children don't have friends. So that's, something which we always look for. So people who would like to spend time with the children and get to know them, some maybe on a regular basis also, maybe some friendship happens there, so that kind of a thing. And of course, funds are always welcome in any way. So these are a few things that the society can actually contribute towards this particular field.
There are many of them who have very good talents in music or dance or art or creative art or craft. So anybody who is really willing to share their talents with these children, we would just love to welcome them and come and spend time on a regular basis or any way they can, where they can come and share their talents with these children. And also, if anybody is willing to train few of our children in music or dance or art, we would really welcome such kind of people in our center, because we really want somebody who are very passionate to work with our kids in these areas, because these are the main areas where the children are very, very fond of. They show a lot of interest, especially in music, dance, and art. Anybody is very willing to come and work with these children, we're very happy.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you for briefing us. And I guess we've come almost towards the end of today's session. And personally, it was a wonderful, wonderful time talking to all of you. I guess I'd like to just hear from you your last thoughts on coming on UinDhi today.
The thoughts what we have to say, isn't it? Yeah, from all of us actually. Thank you so much for this platform to talk about Ekadaksha. It's like, again revisiting and looking at our journey. It is really wonderful actually looking at our journey, because when we are talking, we just tend to go, our memories go, and then we think about it, and so it gives such a good feel that to talk about the journey. Thanking Taposhri who really got in touch with me after when Rajeshwari just put a word to her. Thanks a lot to her, and thanks to you, of course, Priya, for conducting this so superbly. It was really nice actually being here and just sharing our thoughts. So anybody, Archana, Bharathi, Kanaka, please, you can also.
You've told all the work, so yeah.
The Bindu has covered us.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful.
Thank you for coming along. And I guess what I saw today through your work, and I think through this session, is brilliant friendship. I think and people coming from the heart to do what they are passionate about. I mean, you're mostly commerce graduate and then a tourism specialist. I think who would have thought that people coming from, I mean, because commerce graduates will end up being a CA or CS, what's normal, like symmetric society parameters. But yeah, and I think your friendship, because UinDhi is also a platform where I think Taposhri started it, and she was my friend, and I joined. I mean, the thought behind it was something that I resonate with, so I joined with her, and we have friends. So I think the friendship that comes along is turning something beautiful and making some wonderful individuals be into the mainstream society. And I hope and pray for Ekadaksha, and may your journey become an example for most of us here. And thank you very much for coming along. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, really. Really a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yes, really up there.